Slideshow. All right.
All right, letting the crowd in.
All right, sweet. All right, all right. Happy Monday, y'all. We are just warming up a few things here. Just want to make sure we have all areas sharing today's workshop. If you are just tuning in, if you're just joining the Zoom, thank you for your patience. We were just working through some last minute adjustments here. Let me go ahead and adjust something here on my end. Bear with me, and we'll be ready to go. Okay, that's there. Boom, boom, boom. Ravi, how you feeling today, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm super. I was woke up this morning jazzed for
Woo!
this presentation. I was like, this is going to be good today. I know this is going to be, you guys are going to get some value from this for sure.
Mondays are always great for these workshops. We run them every other week, and it's always great to kick off the Monday because whether you're coming in a little deflated or you're coming in supercharged, the wealth of information to kick off the week is what we look for as entrepreneurs. So, thanks for hanging out with us here. I just gotta move a couple of people around, make sure you're pinned here. So we have you. Let's see here, spotlight for everyone. You're all set up. If you're just tuning in now, if you see us on the live, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go ahead and comment below. Let us know where you're tuned in from so we can go ahead and make sure we're interacting with you. Um, if you have a question for Ravi as we go through the programming here, just please make sure you are typing in Q and the question so that way our system can identify your question. We can get those answers. We have our helper here, Jordan, who handles our community. He'll be responding back with any questions, any answers, any concerns, pointing you in the right direction. So we pretty much have you all covered here. Comment with us. We'll get back to you, whether it's immediately or a few minutes. And it looks like we're all systems go. Let me just make sure on my mobile here, we're good to go. Perfect. Looks like we're set. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuned in to the high-level 3-day workshop where we're going to be going deep dive into tactical items, actions, and information that you could use to grow your business or the businesses of your clients. And that's the main objective here. We want you to look at this as training for you to help others grow their business along the way. I'm going to go ahead and share a couple slides here just to kind of set the tone for those that you may or may not be familiar with what we have going on here for today. So if you're tuning in by accident or you clicked on the link to be here on purpose, today's special guest is Ravi Abuvala. And our training today is all around generating an endless supply of free inbound leads. We left it open-ended because the content you're going to receive from Ravi and the instruction could be customized by the niche, industry, avatar, whomever, or whatever you want to position it to. And I'll let Ravi share a little bit about himself as we move on here. But welcome. You've tuned in. You made the first step, which is showing up, right? Next here, a little bit about Ravi from a professional standpoint. Ravi in the industry is known as the systems guy, right? And he was doing systems before systems was cool. And I first found out about Ravi when it was during COVID. He blew up YouTube and he was going out there. I think at first, Ravi, you were doing like LinkedIn promotions or LinkedIn strategies where you was
Yeah.
LinkedIn Sales Navigator, things like that. Am I right?
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, it started evolving, and then you started doing some small groups, and then it just kind of went from there after things started opening up again. Fun fact about Ravi is that he's worked with over 2,000 businesses, ranging in figures, but more importantly, he's worked with entrepreneurs that you may be familiar with in the industry already. But even if you're not, it's okay. He's just impacted a lot of people in the right way, and that's building a repeatable process to scale and grow a business. And that's what systems are all about. If you have a system in place now that's working for you, comment below. I have a system in place now. And Ravi has a bunch of hobbies. Ravi, do you mind sharing a little bit what you like to do for fun? Like what's a day in life of Ravi outside of the systems world?
Yeah, well, it's hard to kind of get outside the systems world because even in my personal life, I have biweekly meetings with my girlfriend. I have a house manager. Everything I do is pretty much systemized. But Outside of the work side of things, I have my pilot's license. I own a plane, so I fly that around. I'm in the process of buying a boat right now. We're moving to a place on the water because I learned how to wake surf, and so I want to wake surf more. I just got a little puppy. I also got a motorcycle recently. So I'm like a big outdoors like activity guy. So I spend, let's say, 80% of my time in a cave in my office, just working and building systems and scaling my company or clients' companies. And then so the other 20%, I usually like to be outside talking to other human beings, playing padel, playing pickleball, you name it. I try to enjoy life as much as possible.
And I think that's like the biggest thing, entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, those that are getting into the business world, we get so consumed with the day to day that we forget about our hobbies. Sometimes we forget about the fun things that we've enjoyed doing. It sounds like you have that down packed into a process that you can have fun and work hard, play hard.
Yeah, I actually I systemized that, right? So I knew that if
Yeah.
I just left my life into the hands of my business, that I would just work 80, 90-hour weeks, which I have done and I
Mhm.
have no issue with. But I realized that I really was happiest when there was at least some kind of harmony involved. And so now I have like scheduled time with my girlfriend, scheduled time with dinners with friends, scheduled time with outdoor activities, scheduled time to fly the plane, scheduled time to train my dog. So it's like, it's just like everything else. If it's on my calendar, I do it. And so I was able
Mhm.
to kind of find, I'm a big believer that your ideal life is just your ideal day stacked on each other as much as possible. So I've been able to kind of like figure out what I want my ideal day to look at from when I open my eyes to when I close them. And then I put that on my calendar. And as long as I do that every single day, then I feel like I'm living what I would consider to be my maximum life.
Amen. With that note, we're going to keep it moving here. If you have questions for Ravi around balancing, around how he systemizes his life, some examples, jot it down. Jot down Q and your question, whether it's throughout the programming or thereafter. There's a lot of wisdom here and a lot of experience. So that's what we want to share with you today. So as we continue on, we've Ravi has put together a 3-day agenda, and he's breaking this down in a systematic way. If you didn't get the clue by now, everything is done by design. So when you experience this training, if things don't feel where they should be, it's by design to bring it back to where it needs to be to start. So day one is going to be about the importance of building a brand with YouTube, right? And if you already have some sort of brand on YouTube, comment below what type of brand you have, maybe what your following is, and what your goals are with that brand. We're going to then go into day two with complementing that with Instagram short form and long form breakdown. Now, there's a lot more in depth that goes along with these day one and day two, but this is what the core is going to be about. So we'll go from YouTube then to Instagram. And then day three is automating the process of your brand, of your interactions, of your capture, nurture, close with the power of high level. I believe, Robbie, how long have you been with High Level for now, as a
Oh man,
service
I
that you
remember
use?
I interviewed Sean at my house in San Diego, maybe 4.5 years ago. It's on my YouTube channel, and like they were just kind of coming on the scene, and so we've been pretty much using it since then. Like internally as for us, for our clients. Yeah, we're Go High Level lovers and nerds for sure.
Yeah, and so one of the early adopters of this platform. So you've seen it evolve from
Yes.
bare bone to muscle to now, whatever you want to call it. It's beyond what it was then to what it is now. So this is awesome. Yeah. So outside of that, there's a few things that I want to share with our new audience. If you're an existing customer, if you are already an existing customer, Ravi has put together a handful of lead magnets and a snapshot that will be available on day three. At the end of day three, that will be available. It'll be in our resources drive. So we ask that you stay along through day one, two, and three. At the end, he'll open that up. And if you need to watch the replay, you're more than welcome to. And then for those that are brand new, in order to unlock those assets that Ravi's giving out, you will need to have a 30-day free trial to install the assets into your High Level. So if you want to go ahead and make your way to gohighlevel.com/Ravi Abuvala offer, that'll get you a 30-day trial courtesy of Ravi and his team. Our typical trials are 14 days, so this is extended, and that'll include the assets. As an added bonus, going through this particular link, you will then have the opportunity to then have a done for you initial setup done. So if you're brand new to High Level, like There are some initial setups to get things up and running. Our team is on standby once you get that trial to get your account up and running. And then as you install the snapshots and the assets, you'll be ready to go speed ahead at the best you can. So these are all the resources that are available. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And for those of you that are familiar with Ravi, you know that he's very hands-on, very like classroom, in-person style. Like if it was just you and him in a mentor session. For those that don't know, Ravi's going to be sharing his screen and kind of going from the tablet as needed. So make sure you're taking notes, make sure you're taking screenshots. Ravi, welcome, man. It's finally great to have you here. I've done enough talking. I'm going to throw the mic over to you. As you need me, punch in. And if there's some dire questions that I got to ask on behalf of the audience, I'll kindly interrupt you.
Sounds good, my man. Thank you, JB. I appreciate you introducing me. Quite the introduction. And thank you, everybody, for hopping on here. Like he had just said a second ago, if you guys do have questions or you feel like it's pertinent, I have this weird tendency to just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk all the time. So if you feel like I need to take a breather or if you want to go over a point, you have my permission to interrupt me, even if it embarrasses me in front of everybody. So I'm going to try to simplify some context down. So let me give you guys just a quick brief synopsis. So I genuinely appreciate your time getting on the next 3 days with me. My goal is to provide as much value as humanly possible to you. On the third day, I'm going to give you our goal high-level snapshot that's going to like tie all of this together and make it super easy for you to install it. Everything I'm going to show you, I literally just finished showing our highest level clients. They pay us $50,000 every 6 months or $100,000 a year. I just finished showing them in person in Miami on Thursday and Friday of last week. And some of them left after the first day to literally drive home or fly home, didn't even show up the next day because they wanted to implement some of this stuff as quickly as possible. So I'm super excited to share with you. For context, I've had an agency. I've scaled that to multiple 7 figures. I've had my own coaching business reached over $27 million in sales. We've done for you services, placements, recruiting, et cetera, et cetera. The good news is what I'm going to show you today is going to work in any business, whether it's for your agency, it's for your business, it's for your clients' businesses, et cetera, et cetera. Also, as far as like marketing systems are concerned, I've spent over $4 million of my own personal money. That means from my own personal checking accounts on paid ads. And we also have amassed tens of millions of views on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, you name all the different platforms. And we're incredibly data heavy. So if you go on any one of my platforms, you can see there's little, they're called parameters at the end of every single link. And it tells us exactly what every journey is that somebody comes and books a call with us. So did they see an ad? Did they go to our sales page? Did they go to click a link in the email? Did they click a link in a text message? There's an appointment center talk to them. Did they go to my YouTube channel? I can see this entire journey and we map this out. And our goal is to essentially create the easiest, most profitable, and most effective customer journey that we can, right? And that's kind of what I'm going to look at showing you guys today, right? So if that sounds good, I don't know if you guys can put in the box, but put a 1 in the box if that does sound good. And I'm going to continue rocking and rolling here. So with that being said, let me walk you through some of the changes that's going on in the marketplace today, right? So you guys may or may not be aware of this, but for the longest time, it was believed that in order to scale a business, you essentially run an ad and you send it to a video sales letter, or you run an ad and you send it to a booking page, right? This is what majority of people thought was really scaling a business, right? And then, of course, for many of you, you could do the exact same thing with emails, right? Email, you go to a VSL. Email, you go to a booking page. And you could replace email with LinkedIn, et cetera, okay? This is what, after working with 2,000 businesses, I would say that 95% of them fall in one of these 2 categories right here, right? Or maybe a blend of both of these 2 categories. This is what I like to call the old way of client acquisition or the old way of marketing. And that is because, and I'm going to try to simplify a lot of these concepts down as much as I can. So that is because over time, you essentially have a marketplace. So we'll put time right here. And we'll put sophistication right here. Okay. So over time, as more and more people enter the marketplace, your market gets more and more sophisticated. Now, what does Ravi mean by sophisticated? Does it mean that people in your market that you're trying to sell to, they're, drinking tea, riding horses, and playing polo? No. What I mean by sophisticated is that they're not stupid. They have spoken to another agency just like you. They've seen other people's ads online. They've looked at other different content elsewhere. They've maybe gotten on 4, 5, 6, 7 sales calls offering almost the exact same service that you're offering, right? And so in the very beginning, when you first reach out to a marketplace, so let's say, for example, when I first started my agency, I had a real estate advertising agency about 4 years ago. I swept the floor. It was like we were getting $15 booked appointments and we were getting on calls, no problem. We were closing deals. One call closes. Nobody was asking any questions. And we really quickly scaled to over 200 clients managing at a time. But then over time, as more and more people started doing the same thing, they either copied me or they launched their own thing. The same ads, the same funnels, the same process, the same sales process, all that stuff just became less and less effective. And that was because the marketplace was getting more and more sophisticated, right? So what was worked back then couldn't necessarily work today. And this holds true, this formula of more time that passes, greater sophistication for every market out there, okay? Every market out there, the longer the time passes, the more competitors enter the marketplace and the more difficult it is for you to acquire new clients, okay? And so that's why I personally believe that this old way of ad to VSL or email to VSL booking is working less and less. And I have the data to prove it. I see, we've managed over 2,000 clients marketing systems, and I've seen click-through rates go down, advertising costs go up, opt-in rates go down, booking rates go down, close rates go down, sales cycles increase, objections increase, et cetera, right? And so all of these numbers hold true. This is everything I'm showing you is backed by data. So what are the solutions? Well, what you have to realize is that I don't think I have the image here. Maybe I can actually show you. Let's see if I do have this image. Like you guys can see, I draw a lot on my iPad here. Okay. I don't have the image, but I'll show you it anyway. So right now, the General Social Survey, which is the longest person-to-person trust study in the world, shows that we're at the lowest point of trust in the last 40 years in the United States. We're the lowest point of trust. So when you see an ad, you automatically think it's a scam. When other people see ads, when they see content, everyone thinks it's a scam. And this is just straight up data. You can't argue with it. And so how do we battle this? How do we battle the fact that your market's more sophisticated? They're asking more questions. How do we battle the fact that people don't trust each other anymore in today's marketplace? Well, in essence, you have to build trust with your prospects. You have to build trust with your prospects. And the best way you can build trust with your prospects is through exposure. Okay? What does exposure mean? Exposure means that people are seeing your face, hearing your voice, and seeing your brand more and more. The more somebody sees your brand, the more they trust you. The more they trust you, the more likely you're going to get sales. Okay? Everybody's just making sense so far? Am I good on this? Yeah? Okay, cool. Perfect. So the more people trust you, the more you're going to make money, you're going to make sales. And the way that you get more trust is through exposure. Okay? So how much exposure do we need is the natural next question. Do you have to become some kind of social media influencer, posting hundreds of pieces of content every single day, dozens of YouTube videos, et cetera, et cetera? Well, once again, another study answers this question for us. So Google did a study a few years ago, and they came up with something they called the 7-11-4 rule. And what they essentially say is that it takes 7 hours of content across 11 touch points in 4 different locations to turn a stranger into a buyer. Okay? 7 hours of content across 11 touch points in 4 different locations. So take a second really quickly and look at your marketing system. Look at the way that you are currently acquiring clients, or the way that you're currently trying to acquire clients, or the way that you're trying to help your clients acquire clients. Do you think that it has 7 hours of content across 11 touch points and in 4 different locations? I would say the majority of people, if we go back to this original image that I showed you guys earlier, it's barely even 1 or 2 touch points, right? These are all here. Is an ad to a VSL, an ad to a booking page, an email to a VSL, an email to a booking page, right? And you may be saying, I am getting bookings from this, but maybe you could be getting more, because in that same study that Google revealed, they showed that the longest time it was believed when somebody was going through their buyer's journey that it was 3 stages, right? The first was essentially just the awareness stage, right? They would call this the stimulus. And this is where they see your email, they see your ad. The first moment of truth would be when they're landing on the sales page or they're speaking with your sales team. And the second moment of truth would be when they're actually experiencing your product or service. What the 7-11-4 rule showed, Google showed the rest of the world, is that there's actually an additional stage, okay? And this additional stage became known as the 0 moment of truth. And this is after someone sees your ad, before they book a call to speak with you, before they speak with the sales team, before you're on the phone trying to close them, they are doing their own research online. And that is where the 7-11-4 rule comes in. This is where, oh, they just, you guys see Ravi Abuvala right now. I'll go high level on this workshop. I'm super excited to see here. But let's say I was hoping I would eventually get a client from this. I don't very much believe that you guys would watch this one workshop and then go and book a call with me and become a client of ours, right? What's likely going to happen is you're going to probably see some of my content online elsewhere. You might look me up on YouTube. You might look me up on Instagram, on LinkedIn. And then only after that exposure, 7-11-4, that you would actually be ready to potentially book a call and speak with us. Go High Level is doing this perfectly right now, right? So you've probably gotten multiple emails from Go High Level about joining, subscribing, and starting your trial. You've probably seen their ads. I've seen them ramp up their ads game considerably in the past few weeks. The testimonials everywhere. I've seen them host events. I've seen them sponsor events. And here we are on this live workshop, right? So you might be in the middle of this ZMOT process right now with Go High Level. You might be actually like trying to do your research. Should I get this? Should I not get this? And you know, I'll say they're not paying me to say this, but we love Go High Level. We've had great experience with them. But you're trying to figure out right now, is this a software that you want to invest into? So it's not just for the big boys. It's not for the companies doing a lot of money. It's not for the like huge, large software behemoths. It's for the everyday agency. And so when you're out here running ads and you're saying, I'm an agency and I'm going to help you, I'll help you double your commissions as a real estate agent, or you're sending cold emails. What you're doing here is you're doing the stimulus, and then you're trying to go straight to saying, book a call to speak with me. And then they're going to say, well, let me look you up online first. Let me see. Okay, I just got this cold email from this guy named Ravi Abuvala saying he's going to help me double my commissions. Let me Google Ravi Abuvala. And I'm going to try to get that 7-11-4 exposure. But the problem is, I'd say the majority of people on this call don't have any content online. They don't have any of that exposure. But what will they find? They'll find somebody else who does have content online. So they'll go to somebody else who's maybe my competitor, who actually does have videos on YouTube or Instagram or somewhere else, and they're going to click on their videos. They're going to consume that 7-11-4 rule, and they're going to buy their stuff instead of mine. Right. So I did spend all that time, energy, and effort to write the ad, send the email, et cetera, and then somebody else is getting credit because they put the 7-11-4 rule into play. They have the content. They're there when someone researches their name. Okay. So I'm going to go into now. Hopefully we're understanding this a little bit. I'm going to take a break here for 1 second. How are we doing, JB? Are we cool? Any questions so far?
We have there's just a lot of positive, like a lot of lights are ringing right now for a lot of people. It looks like, as I'm looking through here, I think the great part about you just really, I got a bunch of information on the foundation. I'm kind of speechless on this because I've never really had someone break it down like this. And I think for those that are brand new, they understand the why around this. I guess the question that I have on behalf of some of the audience is when or how did you determine that you were the one to start putting content out there, like the self-confidence, the swag, the personality? Like, when did you say, look, I got to put myself out there because that's what the market's demanding? And I think that's like holds a lot of people back. Like, they see other people's content, but they feel like it's like they shouldn't be doing it. How do you help with that mindset?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And thank you guys if you are getting some value out of this. So here's the bottom line. Almost everything that you have to do, we all know everything we want lies on the other side of fear. So those of you that are fearful of shooting content, putting it out there, what if nobody likes it, comments on it, et cetera, et cetera. We all know that everything we want's on the other side of fear. And what spurs you to make that action? Well, it has to be change. Something has to happen in your life that forces you to make the change in order to do that. And what I'm trying to do here is that I'm going to tell you that the majority of people that are watching this video right now, whether it's live or recorded, whatever else it is, you're not going to do anything. You're going to do the exact same thing you've been doing because it's easier to do that than to change. And what's going to happen is the small few people that this is resonating with right now, they're going to start doing the bare minimum, which I'm going to show you over the next 2 to 3 days. I'm going to show you what the bare minimum is, not a content creator full-time, not quitting your job, not starting an OnlyFans account. I'm talking about bare minimum content exposure. They're going to start beating out everybody else. So those that are staying still right now, you can get away with it for maybe a little bit longer. But like I said, I've worked with thousands of businesses. And so it's no longer a question of whether you like to be in front of the camera, whether you want to put content out there or not. It's a question of whether you want to be in business anymore. Because if you are in one of these marketplaces here, where it's been around for a while, and there's a higher and higher level of sophistication, then you're always going to lose the person that is actually putting the content out there. And I hope I really drove home the point here, which is that if you're not putting the content out there, but you're doing the stimulus aspect of it right here, then I have to thank you if you're one of my competitors, because you're just having people learn more and more about why they, let's say, need to scale their business, except for when they then go look it up, I'm the one that's going to show up there because I have the content out on the platform, right? So it's not even a question of if you guys want to, if you like to be on camera, and if you don't like to be on camera. It's a question of whether you want your business to survive or not. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. So I know you guys are like, well, what the heck, Ravi, you're making me scared. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to be real with you. But all of that being said, if you are somewhat worried about getting on camera, shooting videos, I'm going to tell you 2 quick stories. So the first is that I actually never really wanted to be on camera. I didn't really like innately is like, oh, I'm going to be a camera person and I'm going to be great on camera. What happened was in September of 2018 or 2019, I always get it mixed up. Many of you have probably been here, but my Facebook ad account got shut down. So I was spending about $150,000 a month on Facebook ads, and we were crushing it. And I was doing the old way of marketing, straight up one ad to a video, to an opt-in page, to a video sales letter, to a booking. And I was getting $50 book calls. And I mean, we were printing money. And then I woke up one day and Facebook said that my account was banned, and I actually got a lifetime ban. So even to this day, I still can't run ads underneath my account. And so when you're spending $150,000 a month in ads, you have a lot of other overhead. So at this point, my team was about 35 people. I had all these salespeople and calendars to fill, all these client success managers. And so we went from every day getting dozens and dozens of qualified bookings to the next day, 0. And so when I was looking up, what do I do here? What I realized was that the only other option that I have, because YouTube never really worked for me, YouTube paid, was to start creating content. And so I was in that exact situation I told you earlier. It was a absolute necessity for me to create content. It wasn't that I wanted to do it. I needed to keep this business alive. And that was actually when I made my first YouTube video. And then I made my second and then my third, and I started kind of getting a whole, I wasn't a part of any programs. I didn't learn how to do anything. I just put it up there, see how it did. And to JB's credit, one of the first videos I did that really popped off was LinkedIn Sales Navigator, how to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator. To this day, it's still one of my largest videos out there, right? And I'm going to talk about how to get in search results and all that stuff later. But the point being that I did it out of necessity. And then over time, what I finally realized was once I got started launching new ad accounts under different names, was that the content that I was creating, people were referencing them when they were getting on calls and they see my ad. So they would go and see the ad. And then they would go online and look me up and they'd see my my YouTube content. And then what I realized was that my return on ad spend actually was higher than it was before, because all the people that would usually just fall off because they didn't trust me were now actually ending up booking a call maybe through my YouTube. And the second piece I'll tell you about why, if you are a little bit nervous about creating content, why you shouldn't worry too much, is because I call content the great equalizer. Okay. And that is because, let's say I'm talking to you right now. Let's say you have $1,000 to your name. Okay. Well, guess what? You technically have just as good of a chance to be able to get eyeballs and attract attention as Bill Gates, as Warren Buffett, as the CEO of Shopify, right? As Alex Ramosi, as anybody out there. You have the exact same, everyone's coming at this at the same thing. So it doesn't matter what your status is or whatever else it is. if you can play the content game, you understand how it works, you're all starting at the exact same place. And the even more beautiful thing about it is that the thing that will make you unique in your marketplace, the thing that makes you different, because let's be real, if you're watching this, you're an agency owner, you're probably not creating a new software, you're probably not like inventing something that nobody's ever done before, right? So then how do you stand out in the marketplace? Well, by being you, by literally just being you and creating content around that, then you will attract your ideal avatar. You will attract leads, calls, and sales. And I was having this conversation at my event this past weekend, and somebody said, like, Ravi, like, have you ever thought about, creating this alter ego so that like you get more views if you're more polarizing and all of that stuff? And I told them, I said, I'm sure I could get more views if I did these crazy things or I did, but then I wouldn't be me. And the whole reason I love content so much is because the people that are following me love me for me, who I am. And so I don't have to come to work every single day and put this facade on just to get the content out there. I can literally just do the stuff that I do. And if you look at my content online, 90% of it is this boring stuff right here. Maybe you guys like it, but most people would consider me sitting here on an iPad drawing concepts about Google studies and all this stuff very boring. So every content creator, master, guru, coach that I've ever paid money to has all told me, no, Ravi, you're doing it all wrong. You need to do these things and viral hooks and blah, blah, blah. And I just stuck true with what I'm doing here. And it works very well for me because I'm attracting the people that like this style of content, which is my ideal avatar, who ended up becoming leads, calls, and sales. So it's one of the only areas, content creation, where nobody has an advantage. Everybody is the exact same thing. Actually, your main unique thing that makes you different, stand out from everybody else, is just you being you. Because just like your mom told you, you are one of one, my friend. Nobody else can be you. So just by being you, you're going to be different than everybody else. I'll take another break there and make sure we're all still doing well on this.
Thank you so much, Robbie, and appreciate the context, right? Because that's like in our audience right now, like that's who I serve day to day, are the agency owners, the marketers that entrust our platform to serve their customers. Now, is it okay, or what's the best route? The story you shared, the futuristic thinking, the facts. How or is it possible that the agency owner that's tuning in now can use that same storyline to now educate their clients on the importance? So let's say agency owner has a niche of chiropractors, and the chiropractors have one or two books that they published, or they're true subject matter experts that are willing to express themselves but don't know where to start. Can they use the inspiration of your story with what you've explained to inspire their client to be open-minded around building content?
Yeah, absolutely. But I would even say I'm probably the most irrelevant story that they could use. I guarantee you, in any niche that you name, there is somebody who is absolutely crushing it with content, and I would use them as the example. So you don't even have to. So long story short, you could use me if you felt like you wanted to. I'm totally fine. You can use that. But I'm saying that if I was going to a chiropractic, I would show them another chiropractor, which I used to live next to one in San Diego, that would crushed his content game. And that was all. He never ran any ads. He just had content in the area, and he would get his practice packed up. And I'm not saying you're not ever going to do ads, guys. I'm saying that this is going to put your ads on steroids. But yeah, I would find someone who's exactly like them, like it sells maybe a similar offer or something like that, and say that this is really what we're striving for, because this is technically who they're competing against.
Yeah, and I guess just on my end, they might want to use you as an example as well. But I'm saying, like, the whole like talking about the Google, the 7-Eleven 4, the framing, I think is so powerful, and some people don't even understand or didn't even realize that was all a thing. So if they were to use the 7-Eleven 4 explanation, if they were to use the graph styles and explanation, is there anything copyright or that they can't use that you've protected that they should be aware of, or can they pivot, or is there some sort of information you could share on how here's how you can build your own framing around the facts that Google, YouTube, or so and so other platforms are offering, right? Like that explanation of the why. I think it's so key for them.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. So we all are working on trademarking our system that connects all this together. It's called the self-sustaining funnel. But other than that, all of this is publicly available information. I just spend my free time on Google studies and looking at marketing and reading marketing books. So, but that's the whole point. I'm a synthesizer of information. So the reason you're here is because I've worked with 2,000 people, spend millions of dollars on ads, and built thousands of marketing systems. And so you're here to get this condensed version of everything that I've learned. So I would be hurt if you didn't at least use some of this stuff in your sales pitches or in building your business.
Perfect. So to our audience, you heard it directly from Ravi. Feel free to use it as inspiration. Frame your own story based on your industry or niche. Make sure you're finding somebody that your client would like to be similar to or use as inspiration, whether it's a celebrity chiropractor, a celebrity contractor. Show them what's possible. And then with the framework and what you're going to learn with Ravi these next 3 days, you'll have enough of the resources to say, here's how we can implement version 1 of this for you. And what this can turn into is unlimited, whether it's turning them into a software as a service offering, whether it's professional services, or whether it's them sticking with you because they were going to go to somebody else to do all of this plus more. So you'll find where could be sticky. Ravi, thanks for explaining. Back to you.
Perfect. Okay, so now that we're done with the why, right? And I'll be kind of referencing it more and more throughout the next few days, but hopefully this is really stuck with you guys on here. And if it has, type in 1 in the box down below so I make sure I can kind of see that this stuff is sticking with you. I know JB's hyping me up, but I want to make sure you guys are on the same page. So let's kind of start diving a little bit more technical. Let's take the gloves off and let's get out of the woo-woo land up high, and let's get into the actual, what does this look like for your guys' business or your clients' businesses? So I'm going to draw something for you here. Shocker. So this is, as many people here are aware, is a sales funnel, right? And so you have on one side eyeballs, which, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I am an incredible artist, so you guys don't have to tell me that. So on one end, you have eyeballs, and on the other hand, you have money coming out, right? That is what your typical sales funnel looks like. In any format, in any industry, however you want to do it, that is exactly what a sales funnel is. Eyeballs is the input, money is the output if you do the right thing. So what we talked about earlier with the different marketing systems is that what most people will do is they will try to buy these eyeballs with ads, right? And then they send them in the middle of funnel to some kind of lead mechanism like a video sales letter. And then that comes out with calls and dollar bills on the other. Another example would be emails, right? And they come out and they go to, let's say, a booking page. And then that comes out with dollar bills on the other end. The nice thing about what we're doing here, but also the not great thing about it, is that what I'm talking about, the 7-11-4 rule, it's very easy for these coaches, gurus, everybody else to say like, oh, you need to run one ad to one funnel and you'll get clients. But it's just not the case anymore. It just doesn't work as much anymore. So although what I'm going to be talking to you today, the next few days, is very simple, I really want to try to prevent your mind from thinking like, okay, I'm going to post one Instagram post and it's going to equal dollar bills in my bank account. Because unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Because in reality, this is kind of what a funnel today will look like. Okay, let me just kind of show you this. This is an example, and this is, by the way, backed up by data that we have from our clients' journeys. So somebody sees an ad. They go on the ad and they land on the opt-in page, right? They check out the opt-in page, but they don't opt in. Okay, they see the ads, the name on there, and they say, oh, who's Ravi Abuvala from Scaling with Systems? So they go to Google. They type in Scaling with Systems. I don't know how to spell Google. They go to, and they see my YouTube page. So they go to YouTube, okay? And then from YouTube, they see that I have a lead magnet. So then they download a lead magnet, and that's when they get our first emails from us. So they check out a few emails that come sent to us automatically when they opt in. And then an appointment setter reaches out to them and welcomes them in and sees if they can answer any questions to them. And then they say, oh, yeah, I'm looking for this one thing. And say, oh, Ravi just posted this on his Instagram talking about that exact same thing. You should check that out beforehand. And then from that Instagram post, they see the link in the bio and they click on it and they go to the video sales letter page. And then they still don't book a call to speak with you. So then you have retargeting ads, right? Go out to everyone that visited this page, and then they book a call to speak with you, and then they become a client. Okay. So this is an extreme example. I'm not saying that every single person does this. And I know some of you may be thinking, oh my God, this is too much work. I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm showing you the absolute extreme end. So the other end of the spectrum is what I talked about earlier, which is ad to call to sale. Okay. So this is what it used to be. That's one extreme end. And then the other extreme end is this one over here. And so what I'm trying to explain at this point here is that I'm going to show you guys strategies on how to create content, how to post stuff on Instagram, how to post stuff on YouTube. But you should really be looking at this as what Naval Ravikant calls the infinite game. Okay. And the infinite game is a game that you play just to play it. So if you're looking at this and you're saying, Ravi, I expect to put 5 pieces of content out a week and I'm going to 5x my revenue. While I'd say that that's actually probably a pretty good bet that I'd be willing to personally take, it's never going to be as clean as neat as that. So that before anybody starts content creation, what you need to understand is even with the level of tracking that I have right now, all I can tell you at a most basic level is that the more eyeballs I get on my content, the more money I make. That's the bottom line. That is the most simple content explanation I can ever get you. The more eyeballs you get, the more money you make. But more specifically, the more qualified eyeballs you get, the more money you make, right? So I'm not going to make eyeballs about me, how I use the plane on my, how I use the bathroom on my plane, because that's going to get the wrong eyeballs. So the most qualified eyeballs I get, the more money I'm going to make. And I'm going to show you guys a framework that we've created called the Content Prism for how do you decide what types of content you can create, okay? So I just wanted to cover that really quickly. Understand that when you guys are making content, it's not going to be a one-to-one ROI. I know many of you might be agencies and you run ads for your clients, and it's nice to show clients, hey, this is how much money you're making because we spent $6, we made $18 back, you have a 3x ROAS. Just understand that this additional stuff here, the one video you put a week, 2 videos you put a week, that's not going to be in that equation. You're just going to put it out because you absolutely have to, because I've proved the data that if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it, right? And guess what? You guys are also proof of it because you're consuming content right now. You're not watching an ad. You hopped on here organically to watch a video of me talking. Okay. Can I move forward on this, JB? Are we good on it? Cool.
Beyond, go for it, man. Taking
right.
notes.
Cool. So let's move forward to something I call the Content Prism. So I'm going to walk through YouTube here in a moment, but first I'm going to walk through this little concept that I created. So here's a little proof. I won't go in depth. This was actually on an Instagram reel I made, but just some of the stuff I've been talking about. You can see that 20% of our deals come in from Instagram organic, and another 24% of our deals come in from YouTube. And this was just a screenshot of our tracking software. You can see that these deals, oh, let me maybe change the color here. You can see that this call came in from Instagram. This one came from Google organic, and then they visit our ads. So that's an ad right here. That's Google organic. This is an ad right here. That's Instagram organic, Instagram organic, Instagram organic, Instagram organic, Instagram organic, YouTube page, Instagram organic. Okay. So I know that's a lot of drawing, but that's just further proof of everything that I'm saying right here. But that's not why I took you here. What I took you here is to walk through something that I've created called the Content Prism. So this is mine. This is my copyrighted material. And if you steal it, then I will have JB hunt you down, and we know where your guys' address is. So the Content Prism is a simple idea, right? So the idea behind this is that, Ravi, I know I need to create content. So what kind of content should I create? Well, I'll tell you what not to do. What most people do is they come at content backwards. And I actually have another really great illustration where I walk through this. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. 1 second. It's in one of the.
Go ahead and type in the comments here. As you're loading up with content, you're understanding the concept. If you need clarification on something, throw it in the chat, whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. If you're just tuning in, there's a wealth of information that's being shared here. In the comments below, Jordan has shared the 30-day trial link, as well as how to get your account fully set up. But we're going to get right back to here, our regularly scheduled programming. So Ravi, back to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your patience, guys. So the problem with most people when they make content is that they try to do it as content creators. This is what every 99% of people online, when they say, oh, create content, they're trying to tell you to become a content creator. And this is when you're creating content forward to backward. So you're saying, I want to get eyeballs so that I can grow my business. So let me create content around getting more eyeballs. You're essentially doing anything for views. So you'll, walk on the street, you interview strangers, et cetera, et cetera. You're the slave to the algorithm. So whatever's the trending, hottest, newest thing, you're creating content around that. You're essentially a copycat for what everybody else puts out there. And you have to really increase your production value. So you have to hire a team of editors, blah, blah, blah. You have to increase your costs, increase your team. It's essentially a full-time job. Your number one KPI is trying to get as many people to view your content as possible. And you're making money from affiliates, brand deals, merchandise, low ticket products. And this is what most gurus, employees, agencies will fall into this category. So this is where most people, when they say content creation, they look at. What I'm challenging you today, what I'm going to show you with the Content Prism, is how to come at content as a business owner. And a business owner comes at content backward to forward. So they think, okay, I'm going to create content only if this drives sales to my company. So if I were to create an ad and then they were to see my Instagram or YouTube, this content I made would be in congruence with that ad that I made or with that email that I sent out. You have consistent, cohesive messaging. So I'm talking about this content right here. If you guys were to go to my YouTube, you'd see these videos that I'm talking about right here. All this is very consistent. I'm not just making stuff for view's sake. It only takes about 1 to 4 hours a week. You're looking for things that get shared or things that lead to sales as your main KPIs, and you become a thought leader in your industry. So a lot of people are referencing some of the stuff I'm saying here. I see it in other people's videos, like 7-Eleven fool rule and the 0 moment of truth. And I see this on everybody's talking about it. And, I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but 4 or 5 months ago, nobody was saying this stuff until I started posting about it. And now a lot of people are saying it, which is fine. I didn't come up with this information. But the point I'm trying to make here is that I'm a thought leader in my industry because I'm the one that's coming out and putting content. I'm not just copying other people just for views' sake, right? So that's how you need to look at content when we're creating it. And so going back to this concept of the content prism, instead of thinking, let me make views so I can get video, or let me make videos so I can get views, you say, let me make videos so I can make sales. And the way that you do that is by creating some kind of foundational assets. We create one for our clients that we call the sales copy blueprint. And this becomes like, imagine the one pager for your entire marketing and content process. So it covers who your avatar is, what their pain points are, what their desires are, what kind of topics you want to cover inside your content, what your product or service does for your clients, how does it buy back their time, et cetera, all in this one piece. And then from there, you can create all of your additional assets like your video sales letter, your YouTube videos, your Instagram videos, and your ads, right? So it becomes this one cohesive, consistent messaging where I won't go all the way back, but remember that illustration I showed you of like the ad to the opt-in to the YouTube to Google to my Instagram to the appointment center, where all of that stuff is essentially saying the same messaging, right? That's how we don't lose somebody in that process. Is it's essentially saying the same thing in different ways, and the way that we do that is by creating what we call the sales copy blueprint. And this is what an example of the top of the sales copy blueprint looks like that we create for our clients. So it's just a Google document. And we go over, what the niche, who the niche is that you're serving, what the avatar is, what their primary goals. So what's the main thing they're looking for? What's the secondary goals, right? So they would also be great if they had this. What are their primary complaints? What are their secondary complaints, et cetera, right? So for example, let's say for my clients, their primary goals would be to get more clients to grow their business. The secondary goal would maybe be to buy back some of their time, right? So I have a lot of clients that would be willing to work harder than they are right now if they could make more money. But it would be nice if they could also buy back their time. So that's a secondary goal. So that's why I don't say, here's how you buy back your time. Oh, and you could also get more clients. I say, hey, here's how you can get more clients and you can also buy back your time. So that's the difference between a primary goal and a secondary goal. Same thing with complaints. The biggest complaint would be something like, not making enough return on your ad spend, right? That's a big complaint people have. And that's why I talk about content, because it can give you a high return on ad spend. A secondary complaint could be something like working with agencies that don't have a high response time, or they take a long time to respond back to the messages. It's like, that's not really that important to them, but it is somewhat important to them. And by creating this one-page document, you have an unlimited amount of content ideas. And like I said before, if everything you pull from comes from this thing here, then everything is going to drive sales cohesively. So that's actually let me walk through the rest of this video. So for example, let's say that I make a video sales letter, right? And if you don't know what a video sales letter is, it's essentially a video where I'm selling my product or service to the people that are watching this video. And so this video says, license our self-sustaining funnel that generates us 20 plus sales calls every single day. Well, then when I'm making content, like maybe this YouTube video here, or these videos here, like how to beat ad fatigue and how we test 30 ads a month, all of that stuff can lead to this video right here, license our self-sustaining funnel that generates us 20 plus sales calls a day. So if someone watches a video on how to beat ad fatigue, then they're going to be totally fine watching a video on how we book 20 calls every single day using one very specific funnel. And that's essentially what the content prism is. So the first step before you guys do literally anything else is you want to create your own content prism. You want to create your own sales copy blueprint where you can write out, these are the things that I know that my avatar wants, the questions that they're asking, and this is the baseline of all the content I'm going to create, whether it's marketing, sales, or media. And then from there, you create all your content around it. And that way, when we go back to what I talked about in the very beginning, that way, when we have this funnel and we have dollar signs on this end and eyeballs on this end, all of these pieces of content that we create over here. So it could be an Instagram reel, it could be a YouTube video, it could be an ad, it could be a cold email. It's all the exact same messaging all the way through until they become a client on the other side. Okay. I'm going to pause here. How we doing? JB, we good?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions around the initial content curation, and I just want to make sure I understand it here. Regardless of the niche or industry you're in, creating one piece or one theme that you're confident you want to implement within the ecosystem, whether it's to existing customers or to those that you're attracting, having that, let's say that worksheet or that PDF that you're making small versions of content, whether it's for YouTube, Instagram, email, so on and so forth. I guess the takeaway here is make it around that one piece so there's consistency across all platforms for whatever time frame you want to do. And then when you feel that you want to add another piece to that or go a different route, same concept, create that PDF or that worksheet, and then make a consistent amount of content around it. So that way it's grouped together to complete the thought. Is that accurate?
It's pretty accurate. The only thing you would really create one sales copy blueprint for your entire business and for all the content that you'll ever create. So you could make
Okay.
slight adjustments to it, but what you wouldn't want to do is make a sales copy blueprint around your real estate advertising agency, and so then you're making content all around this, and then 6 months later you say, you know what, I really want to do men's coaching. So then you're going to create add that to your another sales copy blueprint. Well, now you have content going out about real estate advertising, and now you have a content going about men's coaching, and you're kind of confusing the marketplace. So you're almost like, the saying, the riches are in the niches. You're almost committing to, this is what I want to talk about, the pain points that my client, my prospects are experiencing, the desires that they want, the solutions that they're already looking into, all of these things you want to create the sales copy blueprint on, so that you can essentially create that unlimited amount of content around that. So I made the sales copy blueprint one time, and it has created thousands of YouTube videos, Instagram reels, ads, video sales letters, et cetera, from it.
So, and thank you for the clarification on that. You had shared briefly that there are different content creator styles and advices that are out there. Some that I've seen that have been mentioned here is, jumping on the Google News feed, right? Putting alerts around your industry. And like you had mentioned, like almost being a reporter or sharing those updates. If I'm correct, there's not really a lot of longevity around that. You become committed to like a news reporter. It becomes a little bit hard to sustain. So do you recommend that we stick, definitely you said one niche, and then let's say there's three buckets within that niche or within that topic, creating, I guess, evergreen content under each of those buckets. Is that fair?
Exactly. So let's take, for example, a real estate advertising agency. Let's say I'm running in a real estate advertising agency. Okay. And if I was doing a sales copy blueprint and I wrote everything out, I would kind of bucket things down into a few different things. So what are some pain points that real estate agents have? Probably one, not calling leads fast enough. We'll say not calling fast enough. What's another one that they probably have? Building a real estate team, right? Building a team. What's another one that they probably have? Dealing with crappy online leads, right? That's something that I know that they used to have online. What's another one that they probably have? It could be like humor around open houses. I've seen like memes or reels around that. Open houses. It's like, memes like that. Another one could also be, this one could be, like you had kind of said a little bit, more like trending stuff. So let's say, I remember a few years ago, Redfin came out with this thing where they'll sell your house for 1%. So you could come out and you could kind of be like a news topic around that 1%. But remember, that's one pillar of the different pillars that we're doing. I'm not just always reporting on other people's news, because you can't be an industry leader or a thought leader if you're always reporting on other people's stuff. And then another example, I don't know, what's another problem that real estate agents have?
Getting listings, just
Oh,
around.
listings. Yeah, getting listings. So finding seller leads, right? Another one could be getting buyer leads, right? And if you actually look at my Instagram or my YouTube channel, I have videos on how to run ads as a Facebook, how to run Facebook ads as a real estate agent, how to get seller leads as a real estate agent, how to use virtual assistants to call on your behalf as a real estate agent. So before I launched Scaling with Systems, I said I had that agency, and I was doing exactly what I'm telling you guys right now. I was creating videos online, and I was answering the questions that people would have. And so let's say, for example, I run an advertising agency for real estate agents. And let's say that I'm creating a content on this is why you need to be calling your leads faster, because I know you're not calling your leads enough. It's because you have a 60 times higher likely conversion if you call your leads right away. And it's important to call them so you can set up these automations, use Go High Level, you can hire an ISA team, blah, blah, blah. And then at the very end of that piece of content, if I said, and you know what, if you just want us to make it so that every lead of yours gets called within 3 minutes, and we guarantee 20 appointments a month for you, go down below and check out my video sales letter, or check out a training where I show you exactly how we can do that for you. And so that's how you bridge that together. If I'm creating a piece of content on not calling your leads fast enough, and someone finds that piece of content, that means that they're probably not calling the leads fast enough. So they've just self-identified as somebody who would be an ideal prospect of mine. And then they watch that video, and my product or service solves that problem for them. So it ties it all really together. And let's take it to the opposite extreme. I had a piece of content that my previous creative director, who I was paying quite a bit of money for, told me to make. And it was, where do I go to the bathroom? So where bathroom on my private plane. Okay. So I made a video on that. It had 2 million views on TikTok. Okay. So it went insane. But when people are looking up, where do you go to bathroom on a private plane? Are they having the problem of not calling leads fast enough? I mean, probably maybe 1% of 1% of 1% of 1%. And we have the data. We didn't get any leads from that video out there. And so that's why the sales copy blueprint is so important, because it gives you the context of saying, like, hey, even if I got, let me make this a little bit smaller. So even if I got 10 million views on this one right here, but none of them were my ideal avatar, then it wouldn't matter. Versus if I got 1,000 views of this one right here, but 1,000 of them were my ideal avatar, which one is going to lead you to more leads, calls, and sales for your business? Obviously, that's going to be that one there.
Yeah. And you know, everyone's at a different level in consuming this content. What's nice about this is that you may have to go back and rewatch it really to understand it. If you're pen and paper in the audience jotting this down, that's great too, as you're seeing, you know, Ravi's kind of going on the flow. And if you're going to teach this to your clients, so they start the content curation and then embed that into your high level as a service that you give them, you obviously need to understand it for yourself too. And they're going to ask you, well, why don't you do it? So I think the foundation here, if I'm in this for about an hour or so, I need to start creating content around my expertise, around the problems my customers have. I need to be a thought leader instead of a news reporter. I need to have easy way for them to consume it where they prefer, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever. I could start with one, but at some point I need to evolve and place this onto others. I don't need a big team in order to do this. I could start small and build upon. And I mean, am I on the right path here for audience?
You've nailed all of it. Yeah, you've nailed all
Sweet.
of it down. Yeah.
Now, there was a question that came up in the chat here. I lost the name, but it was around AI, right? So the question was, can I build how would I go about, or do you recommend going about building an avatar or a personality around a brand mascot versus a human? And then what are your thoughts on incorporating AI services to be that person if you don't want to show your face? So without getting too depth into why they don't want to show their face stuff, I don't know. It's okay. But can you give some expertise based on if that was a client of yours asking?
Yeah. So the nice thing about the sales copy blueprint is that you can import this into AI and it can create what you want it to create. So that's a great idea. So another big benefit of the one page or of the sales copy blueprint is that you can, after you fill it out, you can then give it to it and say, write me a video sales letter, write me an ad, write me this YouTube video. What are 10 topic ideas? And it'll be able to do that. So I 100% recommend doing that. And that's a really great way to leverage AI. As far as leveraging AI as voices, et cetera, it's definitely doable. I have a few clients of mine that are doing tens of millions of dollars a year, and they're not the face of the brand. The AI is the face of the brand. That being said, that is, in my opinion, it's more of the exception than the rule. So you can definitely do it. There's no doubt about it. However, I think I was speaking with Sean Cannell, he runs Think Media. They have a few million subs on YouTube. I was on his podcast. I was having dinner with him, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I think he said one of the most Googled words in 2023 was authenticity, right? And so the issue in the increase in AI is that you are seeing that lowering of authenticity. And if you remember what I talked about at the very beginning of this workshop, we're at the lowest point of person-to-person trust in the United States in the last 40 years. And so if you have a lot of people don't trust other people, and there's not a lot of authenticity out there, then, and we know that the way that you build trust is through exposure, and we know that exposure is built through content, then I personally don't think it's the best of options in order to choose to have an AI be your face instead. But I will say that if you, for whatever reason, have to absolutely do it, then I do know plenty of people that are doing it. And just as a caveat, what I think would be a better blend would be if you used AI to enhance you being the face of the brand. So, for example, coming up with content ideas, doing AI voiceovers, et cetera, et cetera. I think that that's the best of both worlds, where you're still leveraging AI, so you're increasing your output, and you're not totally being replaced by it, but it is being done. I just personally don't have enough expertise on it to be able to speak more on the topic.
Well, I appreciate you at least sharing it as if this was a client asking. So that was the question that popped out to me. I'm going to put some other ones together as we go, but that's all I have for now.
Cool. So I have a question for you now. So we're about an hour and 5 minutes into this. I can do one of two things. We can pivot this into a Q&A where, because I feel like I have fire hosed a lot of information over here on this stuff. And then I can cover Instagram and YouTube tomorrow in one class. We'll start with YouTube and pivot to Instagram. Or I can start on YouTube now and we go to Instagram later, and maybe less of a Q&A. So whatever you think is best.
So our questions right now are there's not a lot of like direct questions, or some of them are a little duplicate here. So I don't want to just fire off my questions to overcompensate that there. If you can go the alternate route, or maybe go a little bit into how somebody would incorporate from a high level perspective the platform, like how does high level and this methodology or this framework or this strategy complement each other?
Sure. So I was gonna do that on the last day, but I'll go through this a little bit here too. So here's like the 30,000 foot view of what essentially what we call the self-sustaining funnel. This is what we build for our clients, and this is what I'm kind of talking about today. So let's think, what's the best way to do this? So I'll kind of redraw what I showed earlier. So let's say right here it's a dollar bill. Let's say right here there's the sales call to get somebody to become a client. From here, we typically have like a video sales letter, because that's a great way to get somebody on a call with them all persuaded in the same thing. And then from here, you have what is essentially utter and total chaos, right? So what I mean by that is that this is going to be called top of funnel. This is how Go High Level and all this stuff plays in together. So on the far left-hand side, these are the options of things that you can do, right? So you have ads. You can have Instagram. We'll say Instagram bio. You can have something called mini chat, which is a software that lets comments that people send you that comment on your stuff on Instagram. You can send them something in order to send them to your VSL. You can have your YouTube. You can have TikTok. You can have cold email. You can have LinkedIn. You can have podcasts. And essentially, what you're doing with these things is you're capturing attention. Now, in my experience, there's two main ways to get people to become clients, to get to watch your video sales letter. The first is called direct. So I'm just going to draw this for you. And this is when you're running an ad or you're making an Instagram post and you're saying, I want to work with 5 chiropractors this month, and we're going to help you do this thing here. Or, you run an ad and you're saying, we're going to help you do these things here. That's what's called a direct ad. And that's pretty good. But the problem is that in an entire marketplace, those that are ready, that are for a direct ad, it's probably maybe 2% of the marketplace. Okay. So you're kind of, if you have, let's say, 100,000 people in your market, like trying to compete with each other, 100,000 competitors, everyone that says, "Oh, do you want to get this one? If you're a chiropractor, we're going to help you grow your practice or your money back." You're all fighting for the same 2% of people right here that are like, "Yes, this is what I want immediately." Okay. So that means there's 98% of people that are not ready necessarily for the direct offer, but that are in your ideal avatar. And I'd say that there's probably, let's say, 1,000 people that are competing for this 98% of people here. And so how do we get this 98% of people? Well, you create something that's known as indirect. Okay. And indirect is where you take these same traffic sources and you put in between the traffic source and your direct offer, typically some kind of lead magnet. And then when they get the lead magnet, you're pushing them towards the video sales letter, or you're pushing them towards a call to speak with you. So that's what's known as indirect. And so if I were to say, for example, in this great example, at the end of this workshop, we're going to give you guys the snapshot that puts all of this stuff together, right? And if I were to say before, instead of giving the snapshot, if I said, if you guys want me to build you a totally done for you marketing system and do this for you, click this link and book a call to speak with me. There's probably going to be just a handful of people that would do that, right? And so I'd be missing out on that 98% of people. But if instead I said, hey, if you guys want this additional free thing that has to do exactly with what I'm talking about here, then go here and enter in your information, I'm going to get 100 times more people that are going to input that information there. And now you guys have entered my ecosystem. And now you guys have started to understand who I am a little bit more. And then when you move down from that 98% to the 2%, which I'll talk about here, I'm going to be probably one of the first vendors that you think about working with, because I was the one that's been nurturing you this entire time. I'll take a second here. Is that making sense, JB? You good on that?
Lights off here. So
Okay.
micro moments that lead into more familiarity, like you said, go into the ecosystem, and then dripping in different ways with different positive value that they say, oh, let's do it. And like to what you said, you're doing the call to action to the high ticket item or to the full service item for those that want to take action right away, but you're not losing out on those that are still thinking about it or inspired to learn more.
Exactly.
Boom. Thanks for breaking this down. This is, marketers are at all different levels, Ravi. Everyone, like our audience knows this, this, like not everyone has the same strategy, the playbook, or everybody would be right winning at it at the same level. So understanding the foundation and what needs to be done and get to it. And like you had mentioned, these are the different services and products. Before you throw $1 to any of these on the left, you have to have the plan going to do what you want the outcome to be. Because like you said, if I had $1,000, like money's not the problem. It's executing the right way to make it, like, give them a good experience.
And I want to go a little bit deeper on, like, let's talk about Go High Level specifically by going through a few examples of like how we would use it, right? So this is what it looks like, the indirect, direct, et cetera, et cetera. So how do we play into Go High Level and the different software that we use? Well, typically, if you want to get real technical, which we will more on the last day, we will create specific opt-in pages, right? Where we'll have a little headline, maybe an image, and then a button that says, hey, do you want to get this thing? They give us from here, they click on this, they give us their name, email, and phone number, right? From this. And then when they get that, then they will be immediately redirected to our video sales letter page, where we have a bigger video and we say, hey, you just got this one free lead magnet, and that's going to be really helpful. But if you really want our help working with you one-on-one in your business, then you should click this button below and you should book a call to speak with us. And so then from the video sales letter page, it goes to a booking page. Once again, you guys all know I am the best artist in the history of the artist. I was been called the Van Gogh of my time. And then that goes to obviously them booking a call, and then eventually you actually have the call where you speak with them on the calendar. And so where does Go High Level come into play? Well, this right here, the booking page, the video sales letter page, the opt-in page, is all handled on Go High Level. The CRM of whenever somebody actually speaks with you on the call, where you take notes, et cetera, is all handled on Go High Level. Then let's say that this one lead magnet is doing well. And let's say, for example, we'll go back to the real estate advertising one. I'm going to get real advanced for you guys here. Let's say that you have a YouTube video and you're doing a YouTube video on how to run ads as a real estate agent. And you're saying, hey, if you want this awesome lead magnet about how to run ads as a real estate agent, then click here and you can get this lead magnet here. And so I create this opt-in page, and then they go to the video sales letter page, they book a call, and they speak with us. Then I make an Instagram reel, and I say, hey, if you want the access to these recordings of the top 3 best, I don't know, new lead calls that I've made as a real estate agent that have led to listings, then you should come over here and you should check out this lead magnet over here. And all I'm doing is copy and pasting this previous page. I'm changing the word up top, changing the image, and I'm putting a button where I get their name, email, and phone number. So in about 3 clicks of the button, I'm just duplicating the last one, and I'm having what looks like a whole brand new funnel. And I'm saying specifically to these people that are coming from the Instagram reel, do you want these recordings? You come here. And then they go through the same process. They go through the video sales letter, they go through the booking and the call. And this entire time, what we're also doing is those that start here but don't actually end up booking the call, we're also using email marketing. So we're sending them email sequences and email campaigns saying, hey, just a reminder, we're helping people doing these things. Here's some results. Here's this new content we put out, et cetera, et cetera. And we're also doing SMS marketing. And so once you kind of go high level down, essentially all you're doing, and this is pretty much how I spend the first 2 hours of every single day, is you are copy and pasting this entire process over and over and over and over and over again. That is literally all I spend my time doing. And so my days are spent trying to figure out what other pieces of content can I create on the front end in order to get more opt-ins that will lead to more emails, more SMSs, and more book calls from my sales team on the back end, right? And so the cool thing about Go High Level is that you don't have to, like previous softwares or whatever else it is, it's like, you'd have your email marketing in one software, you'd have your SMS marketing in another software, you'd have your CRM in another software, you'd have the automations that connect this all together in another software. And the great thing about GHL is that all of this is going to be the one snapshot that I send over to you guys. All this stuff we're going to give you all on the 3rd day. And so then you get to spend all your time doing what I would consider to be the fun part, which is getting more people to your lead magnets so they can consume the content and then eventually opt in and buy your stuff.
Thank you for breaking that down. There was a couple comments in the chat that this looks a lot easier said than done. There was a couple of comments in the chat that it sounds like a lot of work. There was a couple of comments in the chat of I've been waiting and looking for this playbook or strategy. In a world of just overconsumption of content, Ravi, how does somebody validate that trust factor that this is worth giving a shot? Right? You kind of talked about lowest trust factor at all time. What kind of receipts should they be asking for? What kind of, observations should they be making? How do they kind of just say, I'm going to go all in? Because like what you said, maybe all, if not most, may not even try this for whatever reason. And the small that do will get the result they've been hoping and wanting. How do we help that majority, that 98% that's not going to do it, become that 2% that does do it?
Okay, well, let me ask a question here. Of the people that are on here right now, 328 live on this, and there's a bunch more, I'm sure, they're streaming in. What percentage of those people have a Go High? What percentage of those people don't have a Go High Level account currently? Would you say?
I would probably say maybe 20% don't have a Go High Level account. Because we email our internal, right, and we have it in our groups and stuff, but that 20% has been sitting on the sidelines for a long, long time. They're consuming this, but not taking the action.
Okay. So 20% of people, and what you guys are selling here is a 100% free 30-day trial of Go High Level, right? And so if you're watching this video and you are watching this and you are consuming, maybe this is your 2nd workshop, 3rd workshop. You've been on 5, 6, 7, read 5 or 6, 7 Go High Levels emails. You've maybe spoken with someone on the team, whatever else it is. And you still haven't purchased a free 30-day trial, right? What makes you think that your clients are going to buy your $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month agency service without some kind of content exposure, without some kind of trust build up beforehand. And I'll also, this is usually what gets people when I'm speaking to them, either at an event or if I'm on a sales call with someone. Think back to every high ticket purchase you've made, which I would consider majority of you in the agency space or whatever, you're selling stuff for $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000. That's, I consider that high ticket. Think back on every high ticket purchase you made. Did you see an ad and then book a call and then buy immediately on that call? Right? Did you get a cold email? Didn't do any research. You responded back and you said, yes, let's get on a call immediately. You get on that call and you bought right away. And I would say that probably 99% of you, if not all of you, did not do that. The majority of you are doing your research. You guys are sophisticated. You're going and you're doing your homework online. You're looking at these people before you even speak to them. There's an interesting stat by HubSpot, which is one of the largest, they do a bunch of market research. And there was an interesting stat that said that 78% of B2B buyers decide who they want to work with before they even book the sales call. Before they even book the sales call. So everyone's so focused on how do I make my sales process as amazing as possible when 78% of B2B buyers have already decided when they're booking that sales call who they want to work with. You actually have a greater chance of messing it up than you do of getting it right. So you have to focus your time, energy, and effort on the marketing process, which is where you're getting people set up on the sales call correct. If you do sales right, if you do marketing right, sales is a million times easier. But the thing that I always tell everyone when they say, oh, it's a lot of work, et cetera, I always say two things. The first is that look at your own buying behaviors. So I'll give you a few personal examples. Right now, I'm in the process of buying a boat. I probably spent 15 to 16 hours on YouTube and on ChatGPT researching boats, the different styles, the pros, the cons. I've looked at Reddit threads. I've looked at reviews online. I've called different dealerships to see what the deal is, right? And it's because I'm making an investment. I want to make sure I get it right the first time. So look at your own buying behaviors and decide if I'm doing this, why do I think that my prospects aren't doing the same thing? And the second thing I always say is that it is a lot of work, but what else are you going to do, right? So if you've established that some form of this, it doesn't have to be the exact same thing I'm putting inside of here, but my main message here is not that you need to copy everything I'm doing. It's that you have to understand that you need to put some kind of content out there. If you don't do that, then what are you going to spend your time doing? Continuing sending cold emails that nobody reads, continuing sending cold messages that nobody's going to look at, continuing running ads that aren't profitable, right? So it's like, yes, it is quite a bit of work, but it is the fact that it is a lot of work that allows you to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And look at all of your competitors that you know are crushing it. Look at any of the gurus that you like online, any of the people that you know are doing well. Ask, do they have content? I'd be curious you guys to put in the chat showing one person in an industry that's doing multiple 8 figures that doesn't have content online. And if you do, it's probably the 1%. It's the exception, not the rule.
Thank you for explaining. Ravi, do you mind to stop sharing your screen? I want to just throw something on the screen here. If you are part of that 20% that has been consuming and hasn't taken action yet, is waiting for the right moment. What Ravi shared here, it's really easy for you to get started with it, right? So the first here is to claim your 30-day free trial. Go to that site, claim the free trial, 30 consecutive days. If you need to cancel for whatever reason, it's not a right fit for you, there's an easy way to do so. The next thing is if you get that account set up today immediately, or within the next 3 days, right? You get set up, set the done for you initial setup offer, courtesy of Ravi with this workshop. They'll actually jump in there with you on a Zoom and get everything set up where you need to be. So you're fast tracking past any of the ramp up that normally somebody would go through for the first 30 days. We're going to get you past that first 30 days so you can get to implementing version 1 of what Ravi's sharing with you. So take a screenshot of this if you haven't yet. We had a jam-packed day. And if you feel the same way as I feel, if you had a couple of light bulbs pop off, if you found that, man, what this gentleman shared was really what I've been missing, or I've seen it before, but it just sounds different the way he's going about it. He explained a little bit more in depth. Go ahead and let us know your feedback below, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, wherever you're at, wherever you're seeing it, just give us your feedback. Ravi, his team, me, my team, my folks here at High Level that I'm working with, we're going to look through this to prepare the next 2 days for you. So if we miss something, it is day 1. We're going to get to it. But if there's something that you want more clarity on, go ahead and type it below now. The next hour, we're going to be going through the comments and we're looking forward to serve you there. Ravi, man, I appreciate you just really, unpacking everything as if we were a paying client of yours in your office with you. If you feel, if anyone feels otherwise, then maybe they just don't understand the value, or maybe they're at the early stage and they might just be taking it for granted. But if you Google Ravi on LinkedIn, on Twitter, you're going to see his content out there. And we look forward to see everyone here again tomorrow. Like tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be here. And tomorrow we're going to do a giveaway of some swag. So if you're putting the comments and you're engaging, you're asking questions, we're going to pull a winner tomorrow that we'll be getting a $50 gift card to our swag store. Ravi, do you mind closing us out here with some maybe some homework, some words of wisdom, some next steps, how someone can get ahead? If somebody wants to get ahead today with what they learned, what could they do to get ahead for tomorrow?
Yeah, of course. First of all, thanks for having me on here. And I do know that sometimes some of the concepts are a little bit more advanced, and I try to break them down as simple as humanly possible. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it, but I don't want to take the fact that it's advanced to be a reason why you guys shouldn't know this stuff, because your competitors are going to be doing it, and I think that you guys should be enabled to do it as well. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed it. Your homework is definitely to show up tomorrow, because today was theory. And I feel like I needed to set this foundation, because tomorrow, if I just dove into YouTube and Instagram and the softwares we use and go high level, I feel like it would have just gone right over your guys' head. And it would just been like everybody else that's telling you, oh, post a piece of content online. But without the information of why it's important, you might do it for a week and then you might stop. And so my homework for everyone here is really to make sure that you guys show up tomorrow and the next day, where I'm going to be tomorrow breaking down YouTube and Instagram, and the next day showing it how it all kind of comes together on the Go High Level platform.
Awesome. Well, folks, we have nothing else here. This you've been respectful of your time. We appreciate it. Till tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you back here. And Ravi, thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody.